Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. My name is Kevin Doe here with Equipboard. Today, I will be taking a look at this new take on an old favorite. The pedal that I'm holding here is the Boss DM-2w analog delay, a revised version of the classic DM2 analog delay pedal issued by Boss back in 1981. However, with this version, Boss has reintroduced it in its original glory, as well as with some few modern features for the modern player. Now, the DM2 is not Boss's first foray into analog delay in its history. Back in '78, along with the CE1 course pedal, it introduced the DM1 delay pedal. Now, the DM1 used a different style of circuit to produce the delays, using a charged couple device to create up to 500 milliseconds of repeats. With the original DM2 issued in 1981, Boss went and redesigned the circuit using a Bucket Brigade chip so that it would fit in one of their new compact series pedals. With this Bucket Brigade chip, the original DM2s were able to provide a whopping 300 milliseconds of delay. The DM2 would also be Boss's main delay pedal until about 1983, when the DM2 was discontinued and the DD series of pedals was introduced, starting with the DD2 digital delay. Now, having been discontinued for so long, the DM2 became a much sought-after pedal on the used market until about 2014, when Boss introduced their Waza line, bringing back old favorites with a new modern twist. Now, like the original DM2, the DM-2w is an all-analog Bucket Brigade chip circuited analog delay pedal. It also features the same three knobs available on the original one. You had this repeat rate knob, which controls the time between the repeats. So, all the way to the left, you have the slowest. All the way to the right, you have the fastest. You also have this echo knob, which controls the volume of the repeats against your guitar's signal. We also have this intensity knob, which controls the number of repeats that occur. Now, if you're one of those people who might read the manual sheet that comes with the pedal, it does say that if you move the knob all the way to the right, the pedal might self-oscillate. I'm here to tell you that it will self-oscillate with all the resplendent glory that comes with a self-oscillating delay pedal. Now, with the Waza line, they did include some modern features to improve on the pedal and make it a bit more versatile for today's player. The first being this little switch. All the way to the left in standard mode, or S, you get the original DM2 circuit as it was originally intended in all its glory. Moving the switch all the way to the right engages custom mode. Custom mode does two things. It makes the repeats a little bit cleaner, with a little bit more sparkle. Not too much, but just enough just to cut through a little bit more. And it also increases the delay time available to 800 milliseconds. This mode is particularly good if you're the kind of player who really likes nice long ambient delay washes. Now, the original DM2 did have just your standard input and output jacks, but again, Boss has added a couple little extra tweaks to the Waza version of this pedal. The first one being this jack here, marked rate. In this jack, you can hook up an expression pedal, which will then control the repeat rate knob. Now, for those of you who've used an analog delay before, you know while the delays are going, if you turn the knob, as the delay time shortens or lengthens, the actual pitch changes going lower or higher. Some people use this to great effect. So, instead of bending down to your pedal board to manipulate the knob, hook up an expression pedal to this jack, and you can do it while standing and still facing your audience. The other new feature that they've added is this direct out jack. This is not a stereo mode per se. What it does is that it allows you to hook up this pedal and create a wet-dry rig pretty easily. If you plug your guitar as you normally would, input and output, well, you do get your guitar signal plus the sound of the delay all in one, going to one amplifier. When you use the direct out, you use the direct out to go to one amplifier and your normal output to the other amplifier. What this does is that your main guitar signal without delay will go to 1 amp, and the delayed signal only will go to another amplifier. So if you do run a wet-dry rig, or want to run a wet-dry rig, this is a good way to do it, as you do have your main guitar sound that's unadulterated, and you can add some repeats through a different amplifier to be blended by the sound guy or the mixing engineer. It does present a lovely option. This is also particularly cool for players who use a parallel effects loop in their amplifier. So if your amplifier has a regular effects loop, which puts things in series, you would just use this pedal normally. If you use a parallel effects loop, to which the effects in the effects loop are blended with your original signal, as opposed to becoming part of the signal, you can connect this into the effects loop and use a dummy jack in the direct out. This is basically the same as having a kill dry on an effect pedal. What this will do is just mute your signal and just have the repeats going into the effects loop, allowing for a cleaner delay that can be blended in. And like with all Boss pedals, you can power this either using a 9-volt adapter, a 9-volt battery that is available under the foot pedal here. Simply turn the screw, lift up the flap. There's your battery clip. And also, like all Boss pedals, a solid metal enclosure that will probably last longer than Keith Richards. Now, what I especially love about analog delay is that it is a delay sound that tends to not really get in the way of your guitar. Because the repeats tend to degrade with each regeneration, they tend to get a little bit warmer as they cycle. Because of that, an analog delay tends to sit in the back a little bit more while your guitar continues to cut through. And this is especially true with the Boss DM-2w. Now, where you put this in your chain will affect the sound. Some players tend to enjoy putting delay before any drive sections, whether it be pedals or your amplifier's distortion, and some players tend to prefer to put delays after the drive sections. Both of them seem to have their pluses. For slap style sounds, I tend to prefer to put the delay before the drive. However, for most everything else, I tend to prefer to put the delay after the drive. The reason is that whatever you put in your signal will affect what happens next. So what will happen is that as the delays are regenerating, if you have this going into a distortion pedal, well, those repeats will also distort. If you were to put this afterwards, what happens is that the distorted notes will repeat without any further distortion being added from the repeats being pumped back into the distortion. This gives a bit of a cleaner sound, especially if you're using a lot of gain. One modern convenience that does not seem to be included in this pedal is a tap tempo. Now, there are some modern analog pedals that do incorporate a tap tempo, such as Mythos Pedals Oracle analog delay. So if you're looking for a specific delay time, you could find yourself playing with the rate knob quite a bit to get things to line up. And for those of you who really like to make things noisy, and who doesn't from time to time, go ahead and crank the intensity and turn that rate knob. The pedal will go into self-oscillation with all the chaotic beauty that comes with it. So enough jibber jabber from me, let's hear how this pedal sounds. For this demonstration, I will be using my René Roy custom electric guitar. The amp sounds will be provided courtesy my trusty UA Dream 65 pedal. Any room ambience that you hear will come from the Room Plugin by Plugin Alliance. And for the spots that do have obvious reverb, these will be coming courtesy the Little Plate plugin by Sound Toys. Hello people, Future Kevin here in the editing room, and I realized I forgot to mention a couple of quick little things. First of all, drive sounds will be coming from a Jackson Audio Broken Arrow pedal, and the fuzz sound will be coming from a custom Newman silicone fuzz. Also, because I mentioned that the delay sounds work differently going into a drive section and then after a drive section, for these demonstrations, I'll be doing two versions, except for the slap. Slap sounds the best going into everything. All the other demonstrations will feature a part with the delay first in the chain and then the delay last in the chain to sort of simulate both scenarios, whether you're using it inline into your amplifier or after all your drive in an effects loop, all of that fun stuff. Anyways, enough from me. On to the demonstration. is this pedal for? If you are a fan of the classic DM-2 pedal, but don't want to pay any insane prices on the used market, this is definitely a much more affordable option. This is also a fantastic pedal if you just want a good old analog delay to add to your board. Whether it be to have a slap sound at the ready or a more ambient delay sound at the ready, and you have another delay sort of handling a different kind of sound, this is a very good option. Because the delays don't get in a way compared to something, say, like a digital delay, which reproduces your sound exactly, this is a fantastic choice if you want some ambience in your sound. If you're also the kind of player who loves self-oscillating chaos and would prefer not to have the option to bend over and twist the rate knob as you're playing, expression pedal jack, this is also a great choice. If you're a fan of the analog style sound that we got out of the Donner Yellowfall, which we reviewed a few weeks ago, but want something that's a bit more authentic as well as possibly way more roadworthy, I would definitely go with the DM-2w. The two modes within this pedal definitely give you some options that are not available on most other analog delay pedals, and both modes do sound fantastic in their own right. So, if you've enjoyed this video, why not give it a like? Share it with your analog delay loving friends. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you are subscribed or you just subscribed, don't forget to hit the notification bell. That way you are advised of new videos as they become available. We hope you've enjoyed this review and demonstration of the Boss DM-2w Waza analog delay. Once again, my name is Kevin Doe for Equipboard. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.